Hey boys and girls, welcome back to New Stuff TV, the untechnical tech channel. I'm your host, Antoine. Holy crap, this sounds good, Richardson, because today we're checking out the Platin Audio Milan 5.1.4 soundbar and surround sound system. Now, Platin Audio was kind enough to send this over here for us to check out, but they did ask that I share a few details about the system with you. So let's go ahead and jump into that. It's got 4 height channels for immersive sound, 2 Dolby Atmos up-firing speakers in the front of the soundbar, and 2 in the rear speakers for a fully immersive 360-degree sound experience. This way you can actually hear the sound coming from behind you and like up from behind you. The soundbar also creates its own wireless network, giving you its best performance with no lag or hiccups. The system doesn't come with a remote, but you don't really need to worry about that because for power and volume, just connect it to your TV via the eARC HDMI, and then you can customize the sound using the Milan Soundbar app on your phone. It's got this WiSA DS technology built in that transmits up to 10 channels of 16-bit sound without the use of speaker wires. For me, this just boils down to a 5-minute setup to where all I gotta do is just put the sound bar on the TV stand and set up my surround sound speakers in the back, plug them in, and I don't have to worry about ripping my carpet up or running wires down the sides of my walls or doing anything crazy like that. I can just enjoy the best sound possible without having to do all the extra work. Now, as far as my personal experience with the soundbar goes, I couldn't really believe how good this thing actually sounded. I was not expecting it because this is one of those brands I had never heard of before. So I set everything up and I just wanted to play around with some, movie clips and stuff. So I put on Transformers first, the original one, or maybe it was Revenge of the Fallen, that's what it was. I put on that one. And it's the part where Optimus Prime actually gets killed. That whole fighting sequence. Bruh, I'm talking sounds from literally everywhere. It was coming from the front, of course, from the sides. Like, it's a soundbar, and I don't know how long it actually is, but soundbars are only so long, right? So you only get such a wide experience when it comes to the left and right, but this thing really does project the sound out and up because it does have those 2 Dolby Atmos two up-firing Dolby Atmos speakers. But then in the rear, that's where the real action was happening. It was like I was in the field where Optimus Prime was getting beat up. Well, he wasn't really getting beat up. He was actually giving it to him, and then they kind of sneak punched him. Anyways, so I'm hearing the sounds not only coming from like across the room in the back and the rear, but I'm also hearing it coming from the ceiling. So it was a true immersive experience. But the thing that brings it all together, and that's probably the most impressive, is the power from the subwoofer. I love this subwoofer, and it seems like more companies would build their subwoofers like the one that Milan built or a Platin Audio built, because it's kind of a short subwoofer. It's a down-firing subwoofer, and it's got a port on the side of it, but it's down-firing and it's short. So I put it underneath my couch. You can put it anywhere you want to, and you see in pictures, a lot of times they sit it like right next to the TV cabinet. I ended up putting mine right under the couch where I sit. So I'm not only getting like the bass, coming from behind and beneath where bass is supposed to live, but I'm also getting that rumble underneath my seat. And I don't even have to turn it up to full power. Now let's dig into the app. So once you download the app and dig into it, you'll see you have your home page here, which is just giving you settings immediately. You got every speaker here that you can control individually. So I've got mine cranked up kind of high. Actually, I was jacking with this earlier, and I might need to just tone some stuff down because it does put out some sound. So you can see here where you got your left and your center and your right channel. All you gotta do is just toggle that to whatever you want. It starts out at 0 by default on all of them. Let me crank them down a little bit actually while I'm talking to you because I was getting a lot of sound and I didn't need that much sound, bro. This thing actually really does perform at a really high level. Before I was using this one, I was using the LG S9Y LG or something like that. It was S9YL. I can't remember what the LG name is, but that's what I use, right? This one sounds a little better. I don't want to do like a comparison, but I'm really loving that extra set of rear speakers I'm getting with the up-firing speakers and the extra bass I'm getting from the subwoofer, especially since it's short enough for me to put it under the couch. So that gives this a slight edge over a lot of other soundbar and complete systems. So let's just keep digging through this app though. So we got the left, the center, the right, and then we got our height channel. So we got the left and the right height channel, which is the up-firing speakers. I turn those down to 4 as well. You know what? Let me bring this center channel up just one more notch. See how I'm fine-tuning stuff? I'm gonna put that on 5 so I can bring out those voices a little bit more. Then we'll scoot down here to the rear speakers. So you got your rear left and right, which is pretty typical on a surround sound system or a rear speaker setup, but you have 2 extra speakers built in there to those speakers. So you have two speakers on each channel or each side. So you got your left, which I'm looking at it. You got your left with your front firing, then you got your left with your up firing, and then conversely on the right side. So let's just kind of, you know what, let's leave that right there on 7, because I love hearing those extra sounds and things come like a hallway or something. It makes you feel like you're in a hallway or at the conversation when someone's talking at a table, because it gives you that true immersion from like all four corners. But then we get to that sub. I actually had to turn my sub down a little bit last night. I had it on 10. It was a little bit too much. Me and the wife, we were watching our new show called Banshee. It's not a new show. It's been out since like 2013 or something like that, but I love it. You gotta check it out, man. It's about a sheriff. No, he's not a sheriff. He's actually a career criminal who assumes the identity of a sheriff. And we're on season 3. I've digressed a little bit, but I had to turn the bass down on that sub, or the volume down on the sub, because it was a bit much for that particular episode. Now let's get into these audio settings. Now you can see that I've changed pages, but the master volume, I have it turned all the way down. It goes all the way up to 100. You don't need to turn it up that high, man. You can turn it up to like 25, I guess, if you need that much, maybe 30, you know, if you really want to get into it, but you don't need to turn it up to 100, trust me. Let's go into audio settings, and then you see that master volume, it still stays there, so you can control that from any page. Then you got your syncing, because like, let's say you're watching something and the lips don't quite match up to what the actions are or whatever. You can go ahead and change that up. And then you got movie mode, stereo, party, movie, auto, stereo, party, movie, music, and night modes. You got your crossover control here. Oh man, they're giving you all the control. Then you got your source. I've got mine running on optical actually. And then you got your coaxial, you got your analog input, aux and Bluetooth, and of course TV, which is actually the HDMI. And then you've got auto standby. So if you're not playing anything on there, it'll shut down by itself. And then you can just turn it back on, but you can put kind of a standby timer on there. Then of course you have your EQ. Let's say EQ with the quotation marks. Because you got your bass here, you can turn all the way up from 0 to, or minus a -10 to a +10. You don't need to mess around here. This thing sounds really good, but you can do that. You can adjust the mids and the highs if you want. I don't think you should touch it. It sounds really good out of the box. Then of course the advanced settings. Now this is something that's going to help you out when you do your setup, because you got a speaker map here. And if you actually touch one of these, it'll actually play a tone for you. So if you touch the left high speaker, it'll actually play a sound out of that one, so you'll know where you actually position that speaker, because yes, they are labeled, but you might put it in the wrong spot. And it's so easy to just plug this stuff up. There's only wires for power. Since they're wireless, every speaker is powered. So you plug the left rear channel into the wall, then you plug the right channel into the wall. You plug the subwoofer into the wall, and then you put them wherever you want them to be, and then you're good. You don't have to run any wires. And that's probably my second favorite thing about this setup, is that I was ready to go. I just put it on the TV stand there, plugged it in, and I was ready to go. I didn't have to do any work. And if you're a person who's not like, you know, constructionally inclined and you can't do all that stuff, this is a setup you don't have to worry about, man. I'm not an expert in this kind of stuff, but what I do know is I really like this soundbar, man. Platin Audio, y'all did a good job, man. I had never heard of this company before you guys sent this out here, but I am a huge fan now. I think a lot of people are gonna love this soundbar setup, and it's just so immersive having those extra rear speakers. And that's something you typically have to pay a really high premium for when you go into other soundbar manufacturers. And here you get everything wrapped up in a really good price and a great setup that works really well. Either way, I'm getting out of here. Y'all keep being good to each other, and I'll see you when I see you.